Greetings friends, and welcome to the gameplay guide on getting your puppets to follow complex routes. So this is a very useful tool, a useful way of getting your puppets to follow a predetermined route. For example, if you might have a tower defense game and you want them to follow along a path while the towers shoot at them, or if you've got like an adventure game and you want NPCs to follow a particular route, really whatever you want it to be. Here we are. I'm going to start with just a blank basic puppet, nothing super fancy there. As you can see, I haven't done anything to them yet. They're just the default one. And we're going to start by making a few positions for them, for our puppet to go to. So I'm going to start by going into the modes and just going sculpt mode, making just a little sphere. Then I'm going to go into gadgets, pick a sensors and go to sensors input, then tag. Then I'm going to name this tag just one. Alrighty, then I'm going to make another one. I'm going to clone that and move it all the way over here. And I'm going to name this one 2. Nothing particularly fancy at this point. And finally, I'm going to make one that is 3. And let's just name that there. Alrighty, so now we have 3 points, and they're all in sort of different directions and all over the place. So first of all, we're going to put down let's go to gadgets again, movers and outputs, and we're going to go to a follower. It's got the ghost and the little person running away. So in this follower, we're going to make sure that our strength is 100%, and we can make, let's say, make the move speed 2 meters per second. This is faster than you think, so don't make it too high. Depends what kind of thing you want. Then we're going to enter our tag name. You can just press down on the D-pad and it'll go through the ones you currently have. So I can make it go to 1, 2, or 3. I'm going to make it go to 1 for now. Let's play to see if it works. Alrighty. Now what is important to add is a rocket rotator. So what the rocket rotator does is it keeps your person looking in the same direction. So let's not have it for a second. I'm just going to put the follower on, and then I'm going to go to point 2. You see what happens? They follow, but they keep looking in the original direction. So that's not what we want. We want them to look where they're going, do we not? So what we use is a rocket rotator. Go into those tweaks, set the strength to 100% so that they're looking in the particular direction you want, and they're not sort of finicky business all over the place. And you point that direction forward. It's a rather poorly placed arrow, I must say. Anywho, now they will walk towards, let's see if we go to 2, they'll walk towards or they'll look towards wherever they're moving. Now if you want to go to several positions, if you want to go 1 position and then to position 2 and then to position 3, for example if you were doing a tower defense game and had a predetermined route for them, what we will do here is we'll move our rocket rotator over here, because that's never going to change. Then we'll move our follower. Let's just get a bit more space here. We'll put our follower over here. So the next thing we're going to do is just go into our follower and set this to 1, so it's going to the first position. Then we're going to add in a selector. And with the selector, we're going to connect output A to the power of the follower that's going to number 1. Make sure to put it in the power and not the speed. I've done that a few times where I've connected into the speed and I'm like, oh, what's going on? Well, of course, this is going to be editing or doing something to the speed rather than actually giving the whole thing power, which isn't what we want. Now the selector is a really cool tool because it allows you to do multiple things but only have one of them done at a time. So we'll have point 1 here, following or going to point 1 here, then we're going to clone it. The only thing we're going to change in the clone is that it's going to go to point 2, and we can connect that to output B, connect it to the power there. We can clone this once again, output C. You can't see it at first, but it'll appear when you go close. Connect that to the power, extend this a little bit, and here we have something that'll go. We've got going to point 1, going to point 2, and I've got to edit this, going to point 3. Let's see if it works. So they go to point 1 and then they start freaking out, whoa, because what's happening is they're going to point 1, but nothing is telling them to go to point B or point C. So what we're going to do is give it an input that's going to determine whether it's going to point 1, going to point 2, or going to point 3. And the way that we're going to do that is to attach let's go into gadgets, sensors, and input, and then we're going to go to a trigger zone. And in this trigger zone, it's going to be around our puppet. So we can select this white little ball here, the little bauble. Make sure it's nicely aligned with, fairly aligned with the center of our puppet. And it's going to, on things to detect over here, we'll go tag, and then first it'll be tag number 1. So when tag number 1 is detected in this particular trigger zone, so in other words, when it's near enough to this chap to be in the trigger zone, it's going to go to point B. And we can actually clone this now and make it so that when we are near point 2, it's going to go then to point 3, C, which is 3. Let's see if it works. They walk in, trigger zone, next point, walk in, they walk in, trigger zone, next point, and then they're there. Oh, and nothing happens when they reach point C, so they're just going to start running around there. And friends, that is pretty much the gist of it. What you can do is maybe if they get to this final point, you can add sort of like another output that just does nothing, or actually I just cloned this. You can do another output that does nothing, or for example, I'm going to make it when they get to point 3, I will add a destroyer so that when they get there, they will just disappear. For example, if they were going to if they were going to your base, and when they got there, they just sort of vanished, or they did damage and exploded, or something like that. So let's see what it looks like at the end of the day. So they go to point 1, triggered, going to point 2, triggered, and going to point 3, where they will whoop disappear. So there you are, friends. That's a pretty complex path. You can make this intense. You can make it 100 trigger zones, and 100 tags, and just have a crazy time. You can put all of this in a microchip so it's nice and neat. The rocket rotator stays separate. It's the follower that you've got to clone a bunch of times, but the rocket rotator is just going to be looking forward to whichever direction they're moving. But there you are, friends. This way you can overcome the disadvantages of them not looking in the right position or moving weirdly or whatever, that sort of a thing. Use just this simple system here. I hope you found this gameplay guide useful. I shall catch you on the flip-flop. Hope you had a good time, friends. Peace out.